Okay. Good afternoon, you beautiful human beings, guys. It is Monday. Generally, we don't always do shows on Monday, but this is a very special show, right? So if you're joining us, please let us know where in the world you're joining us for. If my skin looks a bit weird, it's because I had it melted off with lasers and I'm busy recovering. So just forgive me there. Guys, it is a very special day. We have a couple big things we're going to be talking about today. We have the Golden Nugget V2 trading, which is happening right now. And then just towards the end, I'm going to be showing you our new social environment. It is going to blow your mind. The way we've traded up until now, the way we are going to be trading, everything you thought you knew possible about trading is about to change. I'm going to show you all of that today. So we're going to start off first, just a quick shout out to everybody in the house. Welcome to every single one of you beautiful human beings. We're going to start off with the Golden Nuggets training, right? So we're going to go over the previous Golden Nugget, what it was about, how to trade it. And for those of you who've been using it over the past 2 months, you guys have been killing it, been seeing your results, and I'm super proud of you. Today we're going to be introducing a new section to the Golden Nugget, an additional time frame, an additional opportunity for those of you who are early birds. I see there's quite a few of you that are up early hours of the morning that wants an additional strategy to be able to boost your profits and boost what it is that you're doing. Now, when I get to the social environment, this is something we've been working on, we've been dreaming of for years, right? For those of you who know, back in Nova's day, we spent a ton of money over the period of about 1.5 years developing a custom social environment, trying to think about what the future would be of trading, but people just weren't yet ready for it. And so we believe this is now the right time to change things up. Those of you who've always been used to, Telegram and receiving signals, and it can get chaotic and it's very easy to miss things there, right? So the new social environment is something we are super excited to announce, super excited to show you guys. And there's gonna be a bit of a process to that. I'll explain how you get in, when we're gonna be doing certain things towards the end. But of course, many of you are here for the Golden Nugget trading. So let's dive in and let's just jump straight into it without further ado. Okay, so first and foremost, for those of you who are used to or have been using the Golden Nugget, we're going to start off with just a little bit more about, what is it about, how do we use it, and what was the previous one and how do we essentially deal with it, right? So super important. I'm going to quickly remove these comments because I think it will be, it'll get in the way of what we're doing. We'll be paying attention to comments, and the beautiful Miss Marsha Bart will shout out if you guys have anything to say, but feel free to ask any questions as we go along. I'll go back to the comments and we will work through them together. So first and foremost, what is the Golden Nugget, right? So the Golden Nugget is a strategic set of trading rules designed for high probability profitable moves in the markets, taking advantage of international banking time zones, starting, stopping, and overlapping, right? So if you guys have been through the Quantum Growth Markets Academy, you'll see this table and you should be pretty familiar with them, right? Sometimes people call these time zones, or at least these overlapping of time zones, sometimes people refer to them as kill zones. And the reason for that is we receive and observe super high volatility over these interlapping time zones, right? So in a lot of these cases, you'll find that traders are the most profitable or take the most amount of trades around some of these time zones. Some traders don't know why they do that. Some traders trade either the US session or the New York Stock Exchange Open or the London Open or the Asian Open, etc. But these time zones and these overlaps of time zones generally represent a high amount of volatility, representing just volume, right? And for us as traders, when we're looking at a market, when we're looking at things move, right, we're relying on a few things. We're relying on price action, relying on things to move. But sometimes markets are consolidating, markets are sort of correcting from whatever that previous move is. When we introduce a bunch of volatility, what it does is it fast tracks that correction, right? So if markets are stagnant and not really moving or correcting, when we introduce a bunch of new volume, it forces that market to tip into either a buying force or a selling force, right? So that's the reason why we see much more volatility here. Now, for those of you who've been through teachings before, we've discussed the Golden Nugget in a bit more detail. You'll also know that essentially orders get stacked, right, for the open of these banking hours, right? So if you've been through the academy, you know that markets run 24 hours, 5 days a week, not necessarily 24, more like 23. There is that 1 hour gap or market close, if you will. But what happens here is that certain countries, certain international jurisdictions, they have banking hours, and that's when they're doing the most of their transactions. When those banking hours shut down, all the other orders get queued, right? So you'll know in South Africa, you make a payment to somebody else, unless it's an immediate payment, right? Unless it's going to clear immediately, it'll get stacked or moved over to the next day. Now, on local fronts, it doesn't make too much of a difference. But when we talk about these international clearance times, for those of you who've done an international transaction or sent a bank wire transfer to somebody overseas, if I send that bank wire transfer today, it'll take 2 business days, sometimes 3 business days to clear on the other side. But when does it clear? It clears on their banking hour opens, right? Now that's a retail sort of translation for it, but on the biggest scale of things, our transfers make zero difference. It's when the banks move money and bulk move money that this makes a lot of sense. Now, for those of you who want an additional piece of information that's not in this training, I want you to go ahead and Google the Fed wire, right? For those of you who've heard of it, who haven't heard of it, this is where most of the massive international money is moved. And this is where a lot of strategies are formed around. If you can understand where the Fed wire moves and what time they move money, there's additional things that you'll uncover that we'll be teaching about a little bit later in the series as we get to V3 and V4. But if you want a bit of a sneak peek and you're a little bit overly optimistic and hungry, you might want to jump in and learn a little bit about that. So there's a lot of reasons why we see a lot of these big moves. Now, previously in this current session that we've been in the summer session, right? So if we look at the golden nugget, right, we're looking at a kill zone or a time frame of 9 o'clock GMT plus 2. I remember on your chart, sometimes this is represented as the 10 o'clock candle, because some charts are 1 hour ahead on the time zone. So at 9 a.m. our time, local time, GMT plus 2 for South Africa, we look at high volatility moves, right? So what does that move look like and how do we essentially trade it? Well, there's a couple rules. Now this is in reference to the 9 a.m. golden nuggets, and let's quickly talk about that. So what are the rules to trading the golden nugget in its current form and how do we currently use it, right? So what the first thing we do is we're looking at drawing the immediate market structure plus minus the last 2 to 8 hours, right? So when we look at the golden nugget, we're looking at 9 o'clock, which is a 10 o'clock candle. We're drawing out that immediate market structure that's available to us, right? Going back to the start of the session, and we're looking at those last couple of hours, and in most of those cases, we'll receive some sort of market structure we can take advantage of. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead to, let's have a look here. I'll go to Friday's golden nugget. There we go. And I'll quickly show you guys this. So maybe let's, instead of just looking at the rules, let's actually look at an example, right? So over here, we look at Friday morning, right? Friday morning markets, and this is US 30, otherwise known as the Dow Jones. Markets started to make this little bit of a correction, made a high, made a low. We've got a little bit of a market structure, right? In terms of what the market is trying to do as we approach that 10 o'clock mark, right? Markets are kind of stagnant, sitting in this area right here, right? So that's the first rule. What do we do next, right? We mark off support 1, resistance 1, and support 2 and resistance 2. So when we talk about support and resistance 1 and 2, what are we referring to? We're referring to if we talk about resistance 1, we're talking about the immediate area above us, and resistance 2 being the area then above that, right? So we would mark off both of those because again, we don't know if it's going to break higher or it's going to break lower. We talk about support, we're marking off the area immediately below us where there is an order block, if you will, and then you're seeing that area below. In this particular case, we don't have too much below us, and I generally just mark off the first one, but it is safe to mark off at least 2 levels deep into support or resistance in either direction, right? So that's the first rule, and we're ticking that one off, right? The next thing is we're looking at the RSI to have a look, and this is a safety condition just to make sure that the RSI is not overbought. Now, why are we looking at the RSI and why is this even a condition? What we found over the past is that when the RSI is in an overbought status, right? We bring up the RSI over here. We find that when the RSI is in overbought status, we tend to see the golden nuggets in the mornings start to fail, right? So if the RSI is overbought, doesn't necessarily mean, or it's not an absolute guarantee it's going to fail. We just make sure that if it's overbought, we just use tighter risk management, stop loss, trailing stops, etc. That's just one of the rules, right? Now, what are we waiting for? Now, as rule number 4, When we get to that 9 o'clock on the dot GMT plus 2, which will be 10 on the candles, we start to see a bunch of volume start to introduce itself in the market. Now, where a lot of people struggle with the golden nugget is sometimes this is not immediate. We don't see an immediate market break. As we can see over here in Friday's example, right, and I'll zoom in maybe even closer for those of you who are streaming, is that if we have a look at the immediate volume, we immediately got a little bit of a pullback for about 100 pips, and we see markets sort of range, and then we see a breakout to the top side on the US 30. So rule number 4 is we're waiting for a breakout, which we then take the direction of the immediate support 1 or resistance 1 break, and then you add in entries when we go through support or resistance level 2. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Now, the general rule is that as long as the RSI is not in overbought status, the general rule is 150 pips worth of stop loss every single time for each of the trades. That's the first thing. The second thing would be that we're going to be using a 300 pip trailing stop loss on all trades. And the third thing on this rule is that we always take the first 200 pips that hits profit, right? So the first trade we have on 200 pips, we close that position, right? And why do we do that? Very, very simply put, is that if we have 150 pips worth of stop loss and we take the first trade at 200 pips, we've banked 200, we have 300 pips worth of stop loss, still risk to us. But the second we go over the 200 pips to 300 pips, right, in terms of the market moving in our favor, our trailing stop loss will then go to break even, and we're now in a risk-free position. Okay, now an example of what this would look like, there's many examples. I've shown you the one of them that we are busy working on now. But the reason why the golden nugget is so profitable and why I highly encourage incorporating into your trading strategy is a couple things. It's a trade that you can take on your own, but more than that, right, is that the golden nugget in most cases ends up becoming a continuation all the way into the US session, with some of those sessions even being a further extension on the direction of the golden nugget, right? So let's have a look at if we apply these rules to this exact trade, and you can go back into the past and go back into previous trades and re-see the same thing. What you will see is that on the breakout, we moved for about 300 odd pips. We have a slight pullback, and then we see markets continue over and above that for about 1,500 pips north of current price position, right? Now, there is an adaptation to this particular rule, and the reason why we're starting to see a shift in time, and the reason why we are starting to adapt the rules to Golden Nugget V2 is to a couple things. Now, why do we have Golden Nugget V2? Golden Nugget V2 is an adaptation of V1 that introduces another kill zone at a different time, but we need to be aware of something key, right? What is that? The fact that we are approaching the winter season, right? Now, when does the winter season happen? The winter season happens on the last Sunday of October 2023. So in around about 3 weeks from now, we are going to see a shift where the golden nugget will move up by 1 hour. But what happens between now and then is we start to see slight shifts in the time zone, right? So previously we used to see at 9 a.m. on the dot every single day, the golden nugget will move. We are starting to see that this sometimes happens an hour later, only at 10 o'clock our time, 11 o'clock GMT plus 2, right? Again, another reason for the amount of volatility that we are seeing in the golden nugget in our current time zone is the fact that Sydney, or the Australian session, also comes to a close at 9, whilst London opens at 9, and then we have Sydney or Tokyo, sorry, the Asian sessions that overlaps until 10, right? Now, when we see this shift happen at the end of October, we will have to adapt strategy, because we then see the Australian markets close at 8, with the London markets opening at 10, as well as the Asian session closing at 10, right? So there's a little bit of an adaptation on the strategy, which will have Golden Nugget V2 towards the end of this month, but essentially V3. But essentially at this point in time, we are looking at potentially having a look at between 9 and 9:30. So for those of you who observed over the past couple of weeks, sometimes we get a move, and this is the only thing that I haven't put here in the rules, is that sometimes we end up getting a move where the golden nugget will move, or not necessarily move a ton, and then only at 9:30 do we get the actual move, which then markets take off, right? If we have a look at what happened today, this morning as an example, I'll quickly zoom in here for you guys. Here's this morning's golden nugget, right? So this morning we can see the volume over there on our charts. The volume kicked in at 10 o'clock. Golden nugget immediately pressed to the downside, and then we see a little bit of a pullback, and then obviously fell and continued towards that move over there. So 700-800 pips, not massive, not going to double triple your account on that, but regardless, as long as the risk was followed and you had 150 pip worth of stop loss, even on the pullback you would have been safe, and then as markets push down 800 pips, right? So if you're taking the first 200 pips and you're holding the second two trades, even if your trailing stop is the one that takes you out, right, you're still walking away with 800 pips, let's say, for all three of your trades, which is super important. So for those of you who've been through Gold Nugget V1 trading in the past, we mentioned that if the markets fail to produce a result at the 9 a.m. move, we sometimes see a move only happen at 9:30. So if you see markets are stagnant, just identify that 9:30 move. And one way of dealing with this, and I'll go back to Friday's entry here, or Friday's move, right? One way of dealing with this would be keeping the same market structure. And if markets, as an example, moved over here and then at 9:30 started a massive reversal, utilize the same price action structure that you've drawn out. So if you're looking at a breakout on support resistance 1, which is this one, or resistance 2, if markets reverse past the 10 o'clock time zone, then all you're going to do is take an opposite trade if markets fail your support 1 or support 2. So again, if markets are playing around or sort of half, all you're looking is for an equal opposite reaction, and you can deal with it as follows, right? Or in a similar way. Now, when we talk about V2, what are we referring to, right? Again, so V2 is an adaptation of the current rules, which is potentially looking out for that 9:30 move. And again, anticipating we are going to be moving to 10 o'clock as soon as DST shifts 1 hour forward for the UK. But more than that, there's something else that we have an opportunity to take a look at. So I really want to go ahead and grab the chart that we're going to be working on today. And I'm going to show you an example of what V2 looks like. And then I'm going to take you through the actual rules of what we can do to take advantage of early hour morning moves. And this applies to US 30, US 100, and even gold if you look close enough, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going back to, I will utilize the 2nd of October, because this is a really good example, very similar to all the other examples we're going to see, right? Okay, this Bart saying there we go. Okay, so if you're listening super loud, then obviously the music will be kind of loud, but Miss Marsh said we need to turn down a little bit. All right, so for those of you who observed early hour morning markets, right? A lot of you trade and have a look at gaps. A lot of you look at and trade potential reversals, but there's a secondary option available to us when it comes to the golden nugget every single day. Now, what we're doing for this particular version of the golden nugget is we are taking advantage of the Tokyo session coming to a start. However, the Tokyo session doesn't have the same movement or the same reaction to volume increases that we see London does. So what happens in the Tokyo session is often we see markets open regardless of gap. You can ignore the gap. But what we see on the Tokyo sessions is that markets start to correct and markets start to move in a particular direction. But then what happens with the Tokyo session is anywhere from 2 to 4 hours after the Tokyo or the Asian market starts, we see a reversal of the previous move. Now, there are very, very clear signs of this happening. There are very, very clear rules that you can follow in order for this to happen. Now, this particular strategy works 3 to 4 days out of the week, right? So out of the 5 trading days, you're going to see this strategy work 3 to 4 days. And again, as long as, and this is a massive, massive if but disclaimer, as long as, guys, your risk management is on point, as long as you're winning more than you're losing, you will always succeed long term. Now, if you have a look at something like this, it works 3 to 4 days out of 5 days. When you hit it and you make it work, you're making money, right? When it does not work, you want to lose a predetermined 2 to 3% of your account and no more than that. If you're taking bigger losses than 3% of your account on any sort of strategy that is predictable and consistent, you are doing something wrong, right? So if you want to get this to work for your accounts to grow over a period of time, please utilize good risk management. So we see the Asian market open up, we see the Asian market trend. What then, right? Now, this strategy is so neat and clean for a couple reasons, right? There's not a whole lot of complication you need to apply here. All you need to understand is divergence, right? Now, what is divergence, right? Divergence is where we see two types of information. In this particular case, we see candlesticks and price action give us one set of information. In this particular case behind me, you can see that markets are making these higher highs, right? And these higher lows, right? Meaning markets are trending up. Markets are telling us there's more buyers than sellers in this particular market. When we have a look at a secondary piece of information like the RSI, we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing that even though markets are making higher highs, we're seeing the relative strength index start to decline, telling us that there is some sort of imbalance in this market. Even though markets are pricing higher, we're seeing bulls or buyers in this market start to basically fizzle out, right? We're seeing less and less buyers pushing into this market. So what are the conditions for being able to spot this reversal or spot this trade setup, right? Very, very, very simple. So I've written some rules for you guys that we can follow. So the first rule is we need to identify the start of the Asian market. Right now, we know that happens at 1 a.m. every single day, GMT +2, right? We want to draw and forecast the immediate market structure that is available to us. So when we talk about the immediate market structure, we're talking about a small time frame. At the moment, I'm currently viewing this on a 1 minute time frame, as you can see over there. And we're looking at just the immediate market structure. We're not looking at the previous session. We're not looking at the close of the US session. We're just looking at the immediate market structure. And just simply support and resistance will suffice to give you what you need here, right? So now that we've drawn out that immediate market structure, we need to understand again, as I've said, that the Asian market does not work similar, or the volume that comes into the Asian market is not the same as the London session, right? We see not an immediate result, but rather we see corrections and markets move, and then we see a break. And this can happen anywhere from 2 to 4 hours after the Asian market has started. Now, the most simple way of looking for that break is going to be divergence. Time in and time out, we're going to be looking for divergence. So in this particular case, we see that markets are trending high on the Asian Open, which is great. We see bull momentum, but we see the RSI is diverging, giving us a sign that markets may potentially break or swing to the downside. So you might be saying, but Dane, I get this. This is great. This is amazing, whatever. But there is no ways I'm waking up at 1 a.m. and staying up until 5 to trade this particular thing. And you're right. I wouldn't either. I would suggest playing in peak time traffic is probably going to be better for your mental health than waking up at 1 a.m. and trading till 5. So how do we do this? Super, super simple, right? What we're looking to do is we're looking to have a look at a market at about 3 a.m. right? 3 a.m. every day is around about that sweet spot of Asian session has had time to mature, time to develop. In some cases, the Asian session will break as early as an hour after it starts, which is 2 a.m. So if you wake up at 3, you might miss it. But 3 a.m. is going to be that sweet spot of not spinning, not being sleep deprived. And you're going to look at that immediate market structure. You're going to look for early signs of divergence. In this particular case, you would have seen it or spotted that early sign of divergence only at about 4:30, right? Once you've got that sign of divergence, right? And sometimes these things only break at 4:30, 5 a.m. You might want to wake up even later. It's up to you. Do some testing for yourself to determine what will be best. What we do here is we look at, again, the immediate support and resistance zones. And what we're looking at doing here is we're just looking at placing pending orders above or below zone, right? So again, if we're seeing this Asian market, right, is trending upwards and we're looking for that reversal, we're not looking to buy in that Asian session. We're looking to short the Asian session. So as an example, as markets pushed up here and made that little bit of a low, and we got that confirmation on what looks very much like divergence, right? Then what we will do then is place some sell stop orders below the previous support. And that means by the time you wake up, at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., or whatever the case may be, you would then be in a good amount of profit in order to be able to benefit from this trade. Now, again, this works on US30, it works on NASDAQ, and it works pretty much across the board on most instruments in the market that you're able to take advantage of. So let's look at the previous day, right? Let's do a second example. So what are the rules? Dane, your first rule is identify the start of the Asian session. We can see the start of the Asian session there. Great, got that one. What's the next rule? Draw immediate market structure. Now, this isn't an immediate market structure. It's actually not even drawn great, if I'm honest with you. But what we can then have a look at, or just assume, is we're just looking at that section of that market, right? We're just simply looking at that. We may even consider that it's two sections. If you really want to be technical, we could say, okay, well, we've got that section there, and then we've got this, immediate market structure there. Okay, so let's say we drew that, and you say, Dane, great. What are we then looking for, right? Identifying the market structure, we can see making lower lows. We can see this Asian session is pushing further low. But what we start to see already as early as 2 a.m. in the morning is that we are making lower lows on the price action side, but we are making these higher lows on the RSI side, showing us that divergence, right? Showing us that this market is thinning out, that these sellers are thinning out, and that there's more buyers trickling into this particular space than anyone else, right? So what do, right? As markets get further low, right? Again, we're looking for a reversal on the Asian session. So what we can already start to do, even as early as 3 a.m., 2 a.m., is start to identify immediate support and resistance. So let's say you didn't wait out the total, until absolute turn of this market. Even if at only 3 a.m. you woke up and said, okay, I'm going to set up some penning orders, you set up buy stops in the opposite direction of the Asian session to take that market. In this particular case, you would have woken up absolutely smiling because the Asian session by 6 a.m. would have given you and yielded you 800 pips on US30. And believe it or not, then the next morning, we still then even get the golden nugget, which further climbs price. So this would mean that the trade that you took in the Asian session would have then been duplicated into the golden nugget session, which would have then been carried all the way into the New York Stock Exchange open all the way up to 3:30 in the afternoon, meaning a simple waking up in the morning a few hours earlier or in between breaking your sleep would have resulted just on US30 of over 2,700 pips for a single trade. Okay, the shift is not nice at all. One thing read on trades. Yes, guys, full-time employment is slavery, right? There we go. So Asam's also saying he is a night owl. I get messages from Asam at like 1 a.m. 2 a.m. and I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then I message him at 9 a.m. 10 p.m. when everybody else is up and doing work and he's still sleeping. So now we know why, right? So again, golden nugget V2, super simple. Just to summarize, identify the Asian market start, right? Draw immediate market structure. Understanding that it does not move the same way that the London session opens, but rather we see break between 2 and 4 hours after the start. We're looking for divergence with the RSI, anticipating the break with a pending order to the opposite direction, and taking a look at that would be something similar to what I've just shown you right now. Okay, Rufus is asking, do we go and put in 3 trades as usual? Yes, 100%. And we can follow a very, very similar rule as to what you guys have learned when it comes to the golden nugget at 9 a.m. is the general rule would be 150 pip stop loss, 300 pip trailing stop loss. On the first 200 pips of profit, bank that profit, and then let your trailing stop loss drag the rest of your trades. As you saw, some days up to 2,700 pips, 3,000 pips, etc. Right? That is the goal. That is the trick. Now, quick question: is everybody on the same page? Everybody understanding? Right? This is recorded, so you are able to play it back. You're able to rewatch. You're able to do whatever the case may be. But I want to create as many trade opportunities for you guys as possible that are not completely signal related. And even on the signal side, we've got some big news that we want to announce, and I'll show you inside of the social environment what it is we're going to do there. But can I just get a thumbs up? Can I just get some sort of indication that everybody's on the same page, that we're at least understanding till now, and that will give me an indication that we all hopefully on the same page, right? If you're not on the same page and you're completely lost, what you do is you go onto your PC and you hit the start icon, right? you hit the power button and you hit shut down. So if we're not on the same page, you go start, the power button, you hit shut down, and that'll tell me that we're not on the same page. Okay. If we lose anybody now, then we know. Then they need prayer, not teachings, not strategy. Okay, so I think everybody's on the same page. Okay. Now, the thing that I've actually been super excited for. So those of you who know me know that I'm usually setting up these trades and trading up weird times of the morning. There we go. Rufus has got the instruction there. Okay, so guys, like, I don't care about the golden nuggets. You guys have been using it. You've been benefiting. I love it. I'm proud of you. That's great. I want to give you additional things to be able to trade. That's great. What I'm most excited for and why I was so bummed about Saturday was I've got an even bigger announcement, something that we are way more excited about. And this is really has to do with our new home, right? So you guys have known the vision. You've known what we stand for. You know what it's all about. Our goal is to build profitable traders. Our goal is not to be out there buying or leasing Ferraris, being on Instagram saying, hey, pay for this course, you're going to be like me, right? We know that's not possible, and you guys know it's not possible, and I think the rest of the world knows that's not possible. But, you know, having an impact on people's lives where they become profitable and they change their trading journey, you know, is what it's all about. So, I don't know if I need a drum roll. I need somebody to do something in the comments. I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you, right? In the past, everyone's been used to Telegram, right? We decided to change things up and do live trading, right? We were one of the only entities in the world that have been trading live as long as 3-4 years ago in terms of live shows, taking live trades, speaking about real markets live. No BS, no buying and selling on one account before NFP, and then the markets move, delete all the sells and show you all the buys, like, you see, we're making it. None of that BS, right? We've been doing it live for the longest of times, probably longer than these guys have been on Instagram. But we've moved from Telegram, we've moved into live. We've just had absolutely amazing experiences with some of the groups that we're running, with some of our leadership groups, with some of the things that we're trying. And we realize that trading needs a sense of community, right? Trading, you know, to trade is a very lonely activity, and people second guess themselves, and people wonder, and people are afraid, and people, you know, struggle to ask questions in case of sounding silly, or in case for whatever the case may be, right? And what we found is some of the greatest growth that we've seen in traders comes where we see community, we see support, we see mentorship, we see oneness, we see family. And for the longest of times, you know, we've been thinking about how do we make that work, right? And we believe we're here, and all of our efforts over the past month, if you're part of Premium Plus and you've seen, I haven't been there all too much, and I haven't been sending signals every day, and our thoughts, our effort, our love and our attention has been going into one direction to make this the best possible experience it can be. So let me show you what's going to become our new home, right? Okay. So guys, I welcome you to our brand new social environment, and we haven't yet called it anything, right? At the moment, it's just called DVDM Markets, DVDM Market Social, whatever. You guys can vote on a name, but essentially what we have here is our entire home, right? Most of you used to Telegram. This is available via web. So if you're on a desktop, Apple, Mac, whatever, Windows, doesn't matter. You can have it on your website. You can browse it, and we've got an app that you can download that does all the same stuff, right? Now, what we have is something super unique in the sense that as a community, we can discuss things just like you would on Facebook, just like you would on any other social media platform, but you can come in here and you can introduce yourself. Who are you, right? Comment on, you know, who are you, what do you do, etc. And, you know, you're able to, on the general discussion, you know, post what it is that you're seeing, post questions, whatever the case may be. But then we have dedicated places for amazing things, right? Like signals, right? When it comes to signals, we have dedicated and put together such an amazing team. Now, this isn't yet available. We're moving our leaders into this environment tonight or tomorrow morning to start populating and testing and making sure everything works the way it should. But, you know, our signal service guys, we've worked really hard to bring in and test some of the best strategies that are out there. And we've now got dedicated staff that are going to be specializing in indices, specializing on currency, specializing on crypto, specializing in commodities, that you guys are going to start to see some of the best signals, hands down, anywhere in the world, guaranteed, give you my word, they're going to start to roll into this environment. So for those of you who trade currency and you enjoy your currency, under the signals tab, there'll be currency only trades. So if you want to trade USD ZAR, Euro USD, that'll be there for you. If you're an indices trader, there'll be indices trades. Now, what we're going to be doing, right, is this is our free environment, meaning this isn't even Premium Plus yet. In our free environment, we're going to be guaranteeing a certain amount of pips per week free, guaranteed. Once we hit that limit and that ceiling, the rest of the trades will go to Premium Plus, and Premium Plus will continue to benefit. Whether it's 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 pips, it makes no difference. But we will start with at least guaranteeing in the free environment up to 500 pips of profit after stop losses, after everything, 500 pips of profit just in our free group per week, right? And it's going to be absolutely amazing. We started the testing process a little while back. We are now starting to inject those signals into our groups, making sure how it works. And it is instant. It's lightning fast. The second we post something, it's available to you. You're able to click on it, just like a Facebook post, whatever. You're able to comment, you're able to vote, you're able to provide feedback, you're able to post your screenshots, you're able to say, hey, I'm in a loss here, I don't know what's going on, please help me. We're able to help you. And when we make profit, we're able to celebrate together, right? So our signals will be grouped based on Forex, based on crypto, based on commodities, based on indices, right there. All of our competitions are essentially going to be isolated into our competitions tab. And then we're going to have a few more things we're going to be able to discuss, right? A few more things we're going to be able to do here. But what is amazing is that you as a member or you as a person joining our community, I'm logged in as an admin right now, but you will essentially have a rank as a person. You will have a profile, and this will mean that as you chat and as you comment into the community, you get levels, right? And you level up your profile. And as you level up your profile, as you communicate, as you contribute towards a community, you will level up yourself and you'll get access to deeper and deeper things within the community, right? That may be something like in our learning and classroom. So all of our learning is right here. You don't have to go anywhere, right? Here's how you start. This is an introduction on price action history and Forex and what Premium Plus is. All our learning happens right here. So instead of going from one place to another, you just from right here, you click the button, you're good to go, and you can start learning. So all of our new segments, whether it be Golden Nugget, whether it be trading on NFP, CPI, price action, all will happen in here. And all you have to do is basically interact and engage with the community to level yourself up. And the higher your level is, the different accesses you will have within the community, both on the free and Premium Plus side. In addition to that, we have a calendar. So every time we have an event, every time we have a live broadcast, every time we have something happening, it's available to your calendar. And if you want to go ahead and go back to today's broadcast and rewatch the Golden Nuggets, it'll be there. It'll be archived for you. You can go to the 9th of October and rewatch content that we've been on. All of our live shows will be there. So in the free side of things, we'll be streaming once every Wednesday in the free environment to everybody around the world. And for those of you who are Premium Plus, we'll be live with you Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, right? Both streaming and trading markets over and above the actual signals that you guys will be getting. Now, the crazy and amazing thing that I love about this is that we have members and you guys can see each other. You guys can chat, we can communicate, we can comment on certain things. And we have leaderboards that, again, as I mentioned, as you guys rank up, you will essentially unlock different levels of depth within the community, within the classroom, the calendar, etc. So certain things, as an example, we know when you start trading are overwhelming, right? So what we're saying is that, okay, when you get to the analyst, which is level 4, which is a certain amount of community engagement, we will then unlock deeper levels of education, right? We may go deeper into Fibonacci, we may go deeper into price action, we may go deeper into certain types of strategy, and we will allow you to unlock them as you progress within the community, which builds trust, which builds engagement, and allows you to share. Part of the community will be an SOS and help area, where if something is going wrong, or you're posting a trade, or you might be taking a trade you want help with, myself and the leaders and the other traders and analysts will be able to jump in and help you, as well as the rest of the community, to engage, to help you, to be like, oh, you're in this trade, I'm in this trade, you know, this is kind of what I would do, this is what I'm busy doing with that particular trade, right? But more than that is we all get to know who everybody is. You like to introduce yourself, you like to comment, you like to post, you like to create polls. and just a really fun way of us engaging with each other. Now, the communications on this platform is instant. So when I post something, it's within seconds that you receive a notification, both on the application as well as if you are logged in on the community side. And it's instant, right? The application is super easy to use on our phones. As an example, here's, the signal that you're seeing on the screen over there. It's basically within the app, right? And you get a notification. Over and above that, you will receive emails for communications. And the best part, guys, is there's no scammers. Nobody can jump in here, inbox you and tell you to do this, to do that. They're not a part of that. Now, the mind-blowing thing of what I'm so proud of that the team has created, Marsha has spent, guys, when I'm in meetings and I'm preparing for shows, Marsha is working crazy hours to make this thing possible for most of you guys, as well as the rest of the team, is that this is just the free stuff. This isn't even premium plus. This is what we're going to give the community for free. Education, signals, live shows, mentorship, social, all these other elements we're providing to the community for free as part of what we want to do at DVDM Markets with our leaders, with the other affiliates, with the other IBs that we have that see the same vision. And what we want to do, essentially create a community that is both profitable, that's ethical, and lifts the name of trading throughout Africa and hopefully throughout the world, right? So this is something we are exceptionally excited about. Many of you know my pain and my struggle when it comes to retail trading and the effort that's involved. And this just gets me so excited for the future of what we can achieve with you guys as traders, and just where your trading journey can go, given the proper support and the proper environment to do this thing on a big level, right? So we're going to have testimonies page. You're going to be able to meet different traders that are out there. You're going to be able to share some of your strategies in certain areas. There's just so much we can do with this platform that we're only just scratching the tip of the iceberg. But again, we're inviting the leaders in early this week to essentially come in and test with us, provide some advice over what they can see, what they can't see, what they feel it's going to be. And for those of you already part of Premium Plus, we're going to be getting you access as early as this weekend coming up, meaning you'll be part of the first people ever to be in the platform. You'll be seeing the signals, which are going to be absolute fire. And the amazing thing about what we're going to do with the signals is we're going to keep a super high level of transparency and accountability, meaning that when a trade is posted, we're going to provide constant feedback on that position. We're not going to say, oh, it's in profit, enjoy, goodbye. We're going to keep constant tracking of that trade until it's closed. We're going to report on its closure for profit or loss, how much, what happened. And at the end of every day, we're going to provide a summary of all the trades given, the profit and loss for each and every single one of those trades, as well as the end of every week, right? So we're going to become and have a super high standard for accountability, because at the end of the day, if you're trusting us, and again, this is not by any way financial advice in any way, shape or form, but if you're trusting the views and opinions that we have about the markets, we also feel a sense of accountability to provide you with that level of transparency to trust the process as a whole, whether it be the live shows, whether it be the education, whether it be the signals, or even just the community and the mentorship aspect. We want to deserve and work for your trust in that particular aspect. So we are super excited about this. Can't wait for leaders to come in and share what it is that they're seeing about this. We're going to start that process super soon, but there's just a ton of things that is going to come into this space. Now, again, the free side is going to be free, right? Meaning you don't have to have anything to join. You can come in, benefit, take trades, learn, community, everything like that. But we do have the Premium Plus side. That's going to be a more exclusive area where you get a lot more attention, where you get direct access to me. I'll be commenting a lot more on Premium Plus type posts and providing guidance where I can. So we are super excited about this. If you're free and you're not part of Premium Plus, you can expect to gain access towards the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're trying to make sure before the end of the month, this goes public to the rest of the world. Anywhere in the world, if you're in India, Pakistan, London, UK, anywhere in the world, you can join at the end of the month for absolute free. Come in, benefit. Our Premium Plus members, we're putting a big shift and a big push to try and get you in as early as possible to benefit. And we have a lot of free incentives and a lot of goodies for you guys, obviously being the first to come in and try, get your feedback, etc. So the quicker you can get in, the quicker you can level up, the quicker you can get realized and seen as a leader within the community. We believe this is going to be a massive, massive shift in the right direction of what we believe trading should be and what we know that trading can be. And you can be a part of that with us. So guys, appreciate you. Again, use the golden nuggets. If you're up early hours of the morning trying to catch those reversals, definitely profitable. And it's even sweeter when you catch that trade and it runs into the morning golden nugget and straight into the US session. All you're doing is sitting back and counting the pips, watching your stop losses to profit. There's nothing more beautiful than that feeling, right? So guys, thank you for taking your time to be with me this afternoon. It's been a quick 45 minutes, but I really wanted to do this on Saturday. Nevertheless, never late than never, and appreciate you. So utilize that golden nugget, stand by for updates. Our signal service is going to be off the hooks. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm super excited, and we've put in a ton of effort to make sure this is the absolute best, that there is no better, right? I promised you that. Instead of listening to my words, you'll see it in our actions in the coming days, the coming weeks. Outside of that, I love you. I appreciate you. As always, trade safe, be safe, and I will see you guys a little bit later. Until then, you know the drill. Goodbye.